Hi everyone, it's Suzanne Kalman, and we are getting ready to go live with. Oh, and she's already there. She's already there. That she's getting live with Noelle. Hi, Noelle.
Hello.
How are you? I was just telling my group
I'm
that we were
good. How
going
are
to go
you?
live with you. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm fine. I hope you can hear me okay.
Can hear you good. We always have that issue of like stepping over each other sometimes with the sound, but we'll just keep on top of that. And KJ should be joining us at any moment. So, how's your day going so far?
Yeah, well, it's nearly 8 o'clock. Well, actually, it is 8 o'clock now. So I'm in my wind down mode.
What does that mean? A
Mhm.
glass of wine?
No, no, no. I generally don't drink at home, by myself, even though I have like a bar full of booze. I generally just save it for when I go out. I don't know why that is. Maybe living with an alcoholic.
Yeah, yeah, could
Not that
be. That could be
I
something to
don't
do
live
with
with
it.
one now, but I did. So,
Yeah, yeah. I bet that would change everything. But how's the weather been in
mm,
England? Have you had nice weather there recently?
we did. We had a massive heat wave, which was like, oh my God, unbelievably. Ugh. But then it kind of cooled down. There was a bit of rain. Today was tolerable. So, I mean, I
Good.
don't mind the heat. It's just the humidity that I can't stand.
Oh,
That's why I
oh,
left Toronto.
yeah. I was gonna say, is there a lot? There's not a lot of humidity in England, right?
Generally, no, but when we
Mm.
have a heat wave, we have a hard heat wave. Like it just gives us
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah. That's true. And because we don't have air conditioning there, or we're not prepared, like everything dies and people are dying. It's
Well, it's like
crazy,
snow. When we get snow here, it's like the whole place shuts down. You know,
right?
they they don't change into winter tires and the salt, the trucks go out maybe after the fact, but it's because we don't generally get it, so
Yeah,
they're not
it's
really
true.
prepared.
No, that's true. Are you from Toronto, where they were totally prepared for the snow, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm from Toronto. I miss the snow.
Oh, you do, because they had it for a long time in Toronto, right? Like for months.
Yeah. But I think it's changed recently, and I don't know if that's because of climate change or whatever. But I know my sister was saying that the weather just hasn't been the same. Like they don't get as much snow as they used to. But saying that, there's parts of Canada, like where my brother is, he's in Calgary, and they had snow in July one year. So
Wow.
yeah,
So
weird.
it is kind of. So for some reason, KJ, it's not giving me the option to invite her, and I was told that we can normally have three people in here. So I'm not sure if she's having trouble
Oh,
getting in. If you are KJ, give us a message, and we'll keep trying and see if we can get you in. We are kind of organized today, so hopefully I'm thinking she'll make it in, but it's weird that she's not there. Um so I'm going to go ahead
all
and do the
right.
intro anyway, and hopefully she'll make her way in,
Okay.
because I'm excited to interview you and it's really fun. So Noelle Holton is an award-winning blogger, PR and social media manager for Bookouture, a leading digital publisher in the UK, and has worked as a senior probation officer for 18 years. Wow, that's crazy. Covering a variety of risk cases as well as working in multi-agency settings. Noelle's hobbies include reading, attending as many books festivals as she can afford, sharing the book love via her blog, Dead Inside, her debut novel with one more chapter, HarperCollins UK, is an international Kindle bestseller and the start of a new series featuring DC Maggie Jameson. Her Six Ripley
Mhm.
Avenue is the first standalone crime novel that's coming up next, and we're going to be talking about that in a minute. So welcome, Noelle. I'm so glad. This is so
Thank you.
exciting. My favorite thing about interviewing authors is you learn something new every time you do this. You're like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
didn't even know this about Noelle. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is why you don't have award winning at the top of your bio here, because I'm not award winning. I mean, best selling author. Are you nervous to put that at the top of your bio? But you are a best selling author.
Yeah, I mean, my books have hit bestseller status on Amazon. I don't know. I'm terrible at I guess publicizing my own stuff and kind of it just feels weird putting that on for me. I don't know. I kind of put it on at the end for Dead Inside,
Just
but
in case,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, just
Well,
in
you should
case,
do
you
it.
know, someone
You
sees it.
earned that. You got it. You got even if it's best selling in your category, that's still that's still an achievement, and it makes a big difference. So,
But
so
they
yay.
all they
So
all did hit the top 100, so that was good.
wow, in England or the US.
In England, in Canada, and in the US.
Wow, that's incredible. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, no sign of KJ yet. Hopefully, she's trying to get in. So let's just while we're just waiting for her, let's just chat a little bit because I'm really interested to know because that's a big shift for you to go from like being a probation officer to being a writer. So tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about how that even happened. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So, in back in 2015, the probation service over here privatized. So they split into the
Ah,
public sector and the private sector. And myself and my two teams ended up on the private sector. And right from the start, I knew I wasn't going to like it because all of a sudden it became about micromanaging my teams, meeting unrealistic goals and targets being set. And I used to do a lot of one-to-one work with the offenders that we supervised anyways, even though I was a manager, because I like to keep my finger, in the job so that if something happened or if one of my officers went off sick, I would know where to pick up. So that all had to stop. So I said to myself, okay, I'll give it 2 years. And if it doesn't change, then I'm going to look for something else, even if it means going back to, I used to manage a grocery store before I moved over here. So I thought, well, if I had to change careers, that's fine. And fast forward to 2016, I went to Harrogate, Theakston's Old Peculiar Crime Fiction Festival. And that was my first time going to that. And I met Kim there. So Kim was saying to me that Bookouture might have some projects for, because she was on her own at the time and they were acquiring more and more authors. Would I be interested in doing a couple of projects and working with a few authors? Now, I had followed Bookouture because I started my blog in 2015. So I started following Bookouture and taking part in their blog tours. And, I was a huge fan of Rob Brinza, Angela Marsens, Casey Keller, all those who were coming up. So I was like, oh my God, yes, I absolutely would love to do projects. So during the day, I did my probation work, and then I'd come home and I'd do these projects, setting up blog tours and publicity opportunities for a small number of authors. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it because it was like living the dream. I love books. I love reading. I love Bookouture. So then fast forward to January two, no, maybe it was October 2016, or coming up to 2017. Ollie Rhodes, who was the MD of Bookouture at the time, and Kim invited me into HQ for an interview. Um, so actually, that might have been in May. Sorry, I'm getting all my dates muddled. So later on, they invited me in for an interview, and I was like, oh my God, if I get a job there, I get to leave probation, because by then I was just stressed to the max. Half my team were off sick, and I just had enough of it. Um, so yeah, I went to an interview, and then Kim called me. I was going to a book launch, and Kim called me and said, "We'd like to offer you a job." And I just screamed. I was at a coffee shop. I just screamed, going, "Yes, yes, yes!" And she's like, "Well, hang on. Let me tell you, like, the
let me
terms
tell
and
you, you're going to be
conditions."
cleaning the
And I
toilet.
was like, "No, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I want it. I want it. I want it." And then so in June 2017, I handed in my notice of probation, worked the month of June, and started working for Bookouture in July. And that was it. Dream come true job. Like, you know, it can be stressful, it can be busy, but it's a different kind of, like, at least nobody's going to die on my watch that I'm aware
Right,
of.
yeah,
So
hopefully.
I,
Well,
I don't have to
only
worry
fictional
about that.
people are going to die on your watch. Just
Yes,
characters are going to
exactly.
die.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
wow.
yeah,
But
big change.
a big change and like a big emotional change. So I know KJ is trying to get in. KJ, they haven't given me I'm trying to message you back, but they haven't given me a chance to invite you. For some reason, that's gone away. She is there. She's joined. Hey, KJ, I couldn't. The ability to invite you disappeared, so I don't know how that works now. Hi, I'm here now. She's writing to so I'll ask questions for you, KJ, if you like. It's so weird. I don't know what we have to do to get you in. But I started with Noelle. She's just telling us about how she got to Bookouture, which is an amazing journey. I hope you got to hear some of that. So we'll just keep going and see if she can get in somehow. I don't know what that's about. Sorry about that. So yeah, this is the first time we've done three
Yeah.
people, and it said that we can do three people, but obviously there's a way to do it that we haven't quite figured out yet. So hopefully she'll keep working on that.
Yeah.
Keep chatting.
Because I have seen others doing three people, so
Yeah, that's what I mean. But normally you get the ability to like invite, and that's gone away. It just says it's
yeah.
locked in with just the little bars are a different color now. So I don't know how that works. So we'll just keep trying.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. So with your career in, like, was it hard to leave something that obviously, I mean, I can't even think of anything more different really than being like every day you're dealing with people with very, very hard lives and hard situations and hard decisions. And to go from that to actually working with like authors, it's such a big jump. Was it a good
Yeah.
jump? Was it a hot, is there parts of it you still miss? I mean, how do you feel about your past career?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I loved my job. I thought I was going to be in it until, I had to retire and they forced me out. Um, and now that the privatization's gone and they're back to being the public, which I knew would happen, but I just couldn't wait the extra couple of years. Um, I do miss it, and I miss the people. They were a really dedicated, great bunch of people to work with. I worked in a police station, so I sat across from a
Wow.
police sergeant, and we used to have, great banter. We had a nice little team of police and probation and substance misuse workers. So it was really a great environment, despite kind of the high risk cases that we worked with. We had a laugh. So I do miss that part of it. And I mean, they've been an amazing bunch supporting my books as well. So,
Oh, good.
shout out to my probation team because they've been fabulous. Um, but yeah, it was a totally like I knew nothing about PR other than, shouting out about books on my blog and sharing on my Twitter account. I knew nothing about it. So it was a massive jump, and it made me nervous because this you're part of someone else's career, and you take it kind of personally if something goes wrong or if you can't get
Really?
that
Oh, that's
newspaper
interesting.
interview or
I never realized that was part of your. I mean, obviously we're thinking about our careers, but you worry about that too for us. That's nice to know.
yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I would be devastated, especially like I read the books that I publicize. Um, because for me, I have a better understanding and I can kind of target the right people if I know what the book's about. So if I love a book and I see that other people aren't liking it or, the author's upset about some reviews, I personally feel like, oh my gosh, ooh, what can I do to change this or make them happier? Or it's a weird feeling.
Well, that's really interesting to know. I didn't realize that you guys went through that too. I always imagine because you have so many authors that you're working with. I mean, do you do every single day? Have you got somebody that you're actually promoting or putting together? Do you have certain things that you do in Bookouture, or do you just work with an author and then work through their blog tour and all the different things? I mean, how does it work as far as the sort of the way that it all comes together?
Well, Kim allocates us authors on the basis of like, for instance, like I've worked with Lisa Reagan since she started at Bookouture. She was like one of my first authors. So for author care purposes, we try and stay with the same author so that they're not being shifted around from pillar to post. Um, and I think I probably have about 80 authors that I work with.
Wow.
So once the cover is revealed, we kind of start looking at the blog tour, and closer to publication day, then we start looking at the PR opportunities and stuff that might be available. So every day you're kind of looking through your list and going, okay, Suzanne is 3 weeks from now, so let me see if she's done any of the articles I sent her, or Lisa is 6 weeks from now, so I need to make sure that book is in for review here because they have a 6 week lead up time. So you're constantly having to remember different things. Well, I don't remember. I have them all noted down because
Right, right,
I
right.
don't remember.
Yeah, I think you
So
and I have worked
I do
together.
have this little
Carry on.
no, I mean I have my to-do list and every day it changes or something's added to it just to make sure that I have everything, going ticking along as it should.
I think you and I worked together once with one of my books, and then I think I've been with Sarah the last two
Yeah,
or three times, and Kim once. And it's really
yeah,
interesting, Now I think
yeah.
that the last couple have been Sarah, which you're all great. I mean, I never have feel I don't feel like one's better than the other. You all are so great at what you do. I feel very
No.
supported.
And I think we all kind of, because we're consistent in terms of we all do the same things. Nobody gets like extra special treatment.
No,
All our
there's no
authors,
way to
we
get
treat
the
them
extra
exactly
special
the same.
treatment.
Send gifts. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, no one gets extra special treatment because we love you all the same. You all are amazing to us. So, we work hard and consistent across the board. So whatever Sarah's doing, I'm doing as well. The only thing that might be different is because you're an historical author and Lisa Reagan is a crime author, I'd be pitching for different opportunities. That's the only difference. Everything else we do is the same.
Right, cool. So KJ, and I can see you there. She's sharing the live. Thank you so much. It is making a difference. If you get a chance, KJ, feel free to just ask a question. I'm sorry that you're not in with us, but if there's anything you want to chip in at any point, and I'll tell Noelle. Now, Noelle, there should be people you're into. I don't know if you've got people coming up. If anything comes up, a question, just feel free to just jump in and answer that. I can't see those, so you just
Yeah,
have to let me know.
they're all pretty quiet here, my end, but I'll just say hello.
Yeah, well, and like I said, this goes out onto YouTube and other places. So, this is just where we do the interview. So we want to ask you a little bit about your writing process. I know that KJ and we always ask authors about their process. And so tell us a little bit about how you start a book, where do you get your ideas from? Obviously, maybe your past really helped with that. I mean, you write crime, but like just that process from like an idea into actually how you work that idea into a book.
Okay, so a lot of my ideas come from something I might have seen. Like I watch a lot of true crime documentaries. I read a lot of true crime magazines and books. And obviously working in the probation service, I had a lot of uh, strange cases that I could kind of pull little bits of inspiration from. And I generally start off, my idea is kind of like my opening chapter, the prologue or the beginning of the book. So that's what I always write first. And I also write the ending, which could change at some point, but I generally have the beginning and the end when I start writing. And then I just write whatever's in my head. I am a
Wow.
chaotic writer. I don't write, linear. I just kind of write whatever's in my head. Doesn't matter what chapter it fits into. And then at the editing stage, I've got to kind of weave those all together so they make sense and move and shift chapters around. Um, but I've kind of gotten better as I've written more books. So like book one, Dead Inside, was absolute madness. I had like papers all over the floor, trying to put everything together. It was crazy. But by book six, the sixth one I've written, I kind of got through the majority of that in order with maybe just a few chapters out of place. So I guess it was a learning process for me to learn to write and think and get the story out in a linear fashion.
So you would definitely class yourself as a pantser rather than a plotter?
Absolutely. I tried plotting one of my books. I plotted out, I think, 13 chapters. And by the second chapter, it had gone somewhere else. And those other chapters just didn't even happen. So I just thought it's not for me. And I also tried kind of writing in a more linear fashion when I started writing my second book. But once I hit 20,000 words, my head just shut down. The ideas weren't there. And as soon as I thought, okay, I'm not going to write linear. I'm just going to write as I write. That was it. It all just came. So clearly my brain doesn't work in that way. It's just shoots out whatever. is in
And
there.
I
And
find that people that write like that, they have a lot more work in second draft to do. I mean, it
mhm.
doesn't. I don't think there's a wrong way or a right way. If you're a plotter, I started out as a pantser, and I'm now more of a plotter because I'm always on a deadline, and that freaks you out. So you're like, I gotta be ready to go. But it's like I don't think there's a wrong or a right. But I've noticed that if you are a pantser, second draft is a big deal for you because you've got to pull all those strings together, get rid of stuff, add stuff. Whereas it's almost the opposite if you're a plotter. A lot more work goes in that first draft, getting it all together. So yeah, that sounds amazing though. I think that pantsers like you though have very dramatic writing because every time you write, you're writing something you feel passionate about in that moment. So I think that actually
Yeah.
does work its way through the writing, even though for you, like, we love it because we get to have all that passion, but you get that panicking, oh my God, am I going to be finished? Does any of this make any bloody sense? So you've got that going on, So, but I think that it actually makes for a very good book, at the end of the day for the reader. So KJ
I
asked a
hope
question.
so.
I'll carry on. You're going to say something.
No, I just said I hope so. Fingers crossed.
She says, how long does it take you to write one of your books? KJ asked.
I write for an hour a day, and I usually get 1,000 to 1,500 words. So in just under, I'd say about 10 weeks, I can have a first draft done.
And you literally, so every time you sit down at the computer, that's that. So it sounds like your process is very disciplined. Your actual working process, your actual process of creating is more abstract. But the actual sitting and actually doing it, it sounds like you really do give that time to do that. And
Yeah.
that's great. So you get all that done. And she also wanted to know, okay, I'm dying to know the premise of her upcoming release. I am too, because the cover is incredible. So tell us more about, I know we normally kind of chat about the end, but please, we couldn't wait. We wanted to know more. So show us the cover if you've
Well,
got one there. That would be great.
that's the cover.
I know. It's so scary. Frightens me to death, just the
Oh, I
cover.
love it. And I'll give you an exclusive because they're changing the copy. So I'll give you the new copy, which will be on the back of the paperbacks and stuff very soon. So it starts out, in a house full of murderers, no one will hear you scream. Ripley House is a probation hostel for high-risk offenders. It's supposed to be a secure unit, but then a resident is killed. Everyone has an agenda. Everyone has a secret. No one has an alibi.
Oh my God, Noelle, that made me go all goosey. Oh my God, I love the
I
cover.
love it. I was like, oh. So
The
yes, you've heard
copy
it
is
here first.
perfect. And literally, I have full body chills, and I very rarely get that with that. But that totally is. It totally reminds me of Death on the Orient Express. Did you ever see that movie, Death on the Orient Express?
Yes.
And
Oh, wow.
that's the same thing. Like, everybody has a motive, and you're like, everybody
Mhm.
could have killed this person, and so that automatically gave me that kind of chills. Like, yeah, House Full of
Yay.
Murderers. Yeah, that's going to be a great book. I can't wait. Was it fun to write?
Well, it's on NetGalley now, and it's kind of mixed reviews. So we'll see how it all turns out. Some people love it. Some people, I haven't had any really low stars. Hopefully, I haven't jinxed it. But some people are on the fence with it. So we'll see. But
KJ
yes, it
wrote,
was
"Oh,
really
that
fun to
sounds."
write.
And NetGalley, sometimes NetGalley amazes me. You go in there and they go, "This is the best book I've ever read." 3 stars, and you're like, "Well, what's the worst book you ever read?" Again, it's like, what the hell? Anyway, she
I
wrote,
know.
"Oh, that sounds amazing. I'm scared already. So am I." Like, they need to make a movie of this. I
Thank
already
you.
can see the movie in my head. So I don't know, that my
Oh,
brain works that way.
that would be amazing. And they're doing an audiobook for this, so I can't wait to hear the audiobook because it's told from four different points of view, three women and well, four, possibly four women, but it's told from four different points of view.
Possibly, if she's still alive. Okay,
Uh,
so wow, that's so cool. So did you, when you were writing this, because obviously you have a lot of suspects there, did you know as you were writing it who was actually going to be the murderer, or were you still figuring that out in the writing process? Were you sure at that point?
No, I knew who I wanted it to be. I knew exactly who I wanted it to be. And I had to kind of know because of the way the book is set up, I kind of had to know who it was going to be, to set certain scenes. So yeah, I knew for that one.
Wow, that's kind of cool. Have you ever written a book where you didn't know who it was?
Yeah, I wrote a book where halfway through I changed my mind
Wow.
who the killer was going to be. So then I had to go back and change a few things because the killer worked out better being someone else.
Yeah, don't you love
But
that?
I let part of it in so that people thought it was the other person.
I've only ever written one thriller, and I've never pitched it. But literally, as I was writing it, like I had three people that could all be that were all suspects, and I still didn't know. I got to the end of the book, and I was like, "Which one is it?" Because then each of them would turn up, and you would get the reason, and then you would get the twist, and then you were like, "Is it him?" And I literally didn't know until I'd finished the book who it was. So that was kind of fun for
Oh, I
me
love
just to
that.
have that experience.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I'd love to write a book like that where I didn't know and I kind of figured it out
Well, I
as
kind of
as
wanted
I
to
went
do that
along.
to see what the journey was like for the reader. I thought, what will this
Yeah.
feel like if I just go in as a reader rather than a writer and see how it feels? And what I tried to do was a little bit like they did the girl on the train. So at the end of each one,
Ooh,
at the end of every one of her chapters, you always believed it was the person you just read about. It was like, it's him. It's
yeah.
definitely him. And then you
Yes.
think, oh no, it's him. It's got to be him. And she did a really good job
Yeah.
of twisting each character. So I tried to kind of
Yeah.
emulate, not like she does, obviously, she is, but I tried to do my best as I could, is like add something in that would leave you going, oh, it's him now because of that and that and that, And so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
Amazing.
one day I'll get it out there and we'll see.
Yes, come to the dark side of Bookture.
It's pretty
I'm
dark in
always
World
trying
War
to
Two,
poach.
but yes.
I'm always trying to poach you guys over to the dark side. We had some of our light siders move over to the dark side, like Karen King,
Yeah,
and it's
I
been
wonder whether I
fabulous.
could go under a different name or something and see if that works, and it wouldn't be so bad.
Sure.
I would hate to kill the brand that you guys have spent so much time building up with a really bad thriller.
Oh, we'll give you a new brand. We'll give you a new brand.
Okay, okay, then that sounds good. Okay, so KJ, what wrote? I've got the questions that even though she's not in, we had questions. What did you? How did you come up with your concept for Dead Inside? So, oh, yeah, we're
Oh.
going right back to your very first book, which did really well. So, tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about that book because that kind of set you on the trail, right? That was your very first book, and that did really well as far as from what
Mhm.
I'm seeing in reviews. So, tell us a little bit about that experience and how that happened, that came about.
Okay, well, Dead Inside was a really personal book for me because
Mm.
I had just left an abusive relationship that I'd been in for 13 years. And I had just left the probation service, a job that I had loved for 18 years. Um, and I had started writing Dead Inside just before I left the probation service as kind of, and I'd been kind of fresh out of this relationship. So it, most contact ended in 2015, and I started writing the book towards the end or I think mid 2017. Um, so yeah, I kind of used my experiences as a survivor of domestic abuse and that relationship. So there's a probation officer in it who's working with perpetrators of domestic abuse, but then she obviously goes home to one as well.
Wow.
And perpetrators on her caseload start dying in horrible, horrible ways. So they're abusers. So you kind of feel like you're almost cheering on the killer because these people are nasty people, but you get the side of their families, so you kind of feel sorry because they're also victims of being murdered. Um, and then her husband ends up dead. This probation officer's husband ends up dead, and QDC Maggie Jameson, who has to come in and figure out whether Lucy is a cold-blooded killer or something else was going on. So yeah, it was kind of like cathartic for me. I brought in my own experiences to kind of point out to people. It was kind of a little bit of educational that, just because I was probation officer didn't mean that I couldn't find myself in a horrific situation because I think people have this false belief that you're weak or that you're poor or, all these different kind of ridiculous ideas in terms of what an abuser should, a victim of abuse should look like. And there's a lot of victim blaming that goes on. So I wanted to kind of educate people about, it can happen to anyone, and you'd have to read the book to find out what happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, it it
Sounds
was um it was very very it took a lot. I mean, I couldn't even read the prologue for probably almost 2 years without bursting into tears.
wow. Because it was so personal.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
incredible. So,
yeah.
so just so I understand, the probation officer is the one that may have committed the murder. So that's different to the person who. Oh, I just wanted to check that out. So is there more than one in that series then? If you started out with this was that the beginning of the series, Dead Inside?
Yeah, that's the first book in the series. And then I have Dead Wrong, which is the second book in the series, Dead Perfect, the third, Dead Secret, the fourth, and the fifth is Dead Mercy.
Wow, and are they all for this? Did you write under the same for the same publisher?
Yep. Yeah, they're all
Wow,
with one more chapter slash HarperCollins.
cool. And how have they been to work with? Have you liked working with them?
Yes. I
I'm
uh,
laughing because of the way you said
the,
it, and I know from talking to Kim, like when you work in publishing and you are being published, you have different experiences, and it's you automatically like looking at it with, well, why are they doing this or why are they doing that? But we're not gonna be bad about these people, but carry on anyway. Tell us your experience.
no, but I think the difference is I see how much we do at Bookouture for our authors and author care. And not just my publisher, I've spoken to other people who've been published by other publishers. Um, that experience is a lot different than what the authors at Bookouture experience.
Yeah, yeah, you
But
are really unusual.
I love my editor. She is brilliant and she always makes my book stronger and she always pulls me on things. Um, but as a writer, I have to do a lot of my own publicity, so it's kind of, I guess, good that I work in publicity.
Yeah, it is kind of good. Yeah, well, that kind of leads us nicely on to the next kind of question, which is we really wanted to talk a little bit about, because you have so much experience, obviously, in this now. What would you talk? Let's talk a little bit about if somebody's listening to this and they're self-publishing, which of course it has its own challenging. What are some of the things that you think are really valuable for people to take on board, as far as being on social media or what they're doing to promote? I mean, one of the things are some of the things that you think work really well in publishing.
Um, for me, I think it's, you can be part of a lot of different groups or different social media platforms. But if you're not engaging with the people who are following you, like if you look at, for instance, my follows on TikTok or my follows on Instagram, um, generally I'm following almost the same amount of people that are following me because I want to create that community as a reader, as a writer, as someone who works in the publishing industry, because you learn from other people and you find new books from other people. And I might see an author, for instance, on TikTok that I think, wow, they'd be a great Bookouture author. So I'd have a conversation with people at Bookouture. So, you know, I think you have to build those communities. And I think that's really, really important. When I'm on Facebook, when I go into groups, I'm not going in as a publicist. I'm not going in to go buy this book, buy this book, buy this book. I'm going in sharing my experience as a reader of what I've read, either if it's Bookouture books that I've read or if it's, other people's books that I've read. And I have conversations with other readers because I think people forget that even though you're a writer, most writers are readers. I don't know
Right.
any writer who hasn't,
It doesn't
or
read.
isn't
Yeah.
an avid reader. So I think if you go into social media platforms as a reader rather than a writer and create those connections and create those communities, people will be interested in you. Another thing I think that's really important is on your social media platforms, show your face, have a picture of you, not your book. I know some people like to have their book because that's what's coming out next. But I think, and from other people I've seen, Readers generally want to connect with the person, not the book, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So
totally.
I I just think people want to know what the author looks like. Like sometimes, when I've seen a cover as a someone's picture, I will Google just to see what that person looks like.
Right.
I don't know why. There's that fascination of who is this mystery person? I want to
Exactly.
know more. So I
Well,
guess in that
sometimes
way, maybe it works. Maybe
no,
that's what it is.
sometimes I'll go to onto Amazon and they haven't even got a picture in their profile picture, and I'm like, why wouldn't you at least? Of
Yeah.
course, we want to know who you are because even as a writer myself, I'm fascinated by other writers and their process and how they do what they do and who they are and what makes them tick. And so I think it's just natural for us to
Yeah.
want to naturally connect with a real person rather than just a book cover
Yeah.
or nothing, which is sometimes what happens. So yeah, I've missed a couple of questions from KJ. That reminds me of Dexter when you're rooting for the bad guy. Are you talking about when we were talking
Yeah.
about her book? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love Dexter, and I love
Oh,
I
you
love
did.
that fact that
I'm sad that KG isn't in because she is a huge Dexter fan. And I don't watch anything scary like that. So she has to kind of break it down gently for me. So you got a little Dexter fan here. So here, KJ, what a shame
yeah.
you couldn't get in because you love him.
Yeah, I love Dexter. Amazing, amazing character.
And she
Amazing
talks
show.
about the writing and how like they start with something terrible and then it gets worse and then it gets worse and then and there's a real skill to that. I mean, I would love to learn
Yeah,
how to do that well, you know,
yeah.
which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's wonderful. So you think connecting with an audience is really important. What are your favorite ways to connect with your audience? What do you kind of center in on a couple of things?
I like when I post something, I like going back and kind of having that conversation. I know some authors kind of, might schedule posts on their Facebook page, but then never go back and chat, and even at Bookouture, like on our sites, we go back and have conversations with the readers who have taken the time to make a comment because that's what, it's, I don't know. I just feel like why post something if you're not going to go back and have a conversation with these people? And I've actually met a lot of people in real life who started commenting on my posts or follow me on Twitter, and I've had a conversation on Twitter. And some of my best friends now, like including Sarah, I met in a Facebook group. That's how I met her, online for 2 years before I met her in real life.
Wow, that's good. Well, KJ and I met on Twitter. I mean, we became friends.
Yeah,
We were both publishing our first book at the same time, and we actually met that way. And we thought, hey, we'll help each other promote. And that was, gosh, you wish KJ was here. She's good with timing, but it must have been nearly 10 years ago now that we were both writing our first book together. And so, yeah, I agree with you that you want to be able to connect. This is partly why I love doing the lives as well. I just think that
yeah,
you feel connected to people and you can really feel, who somebody is and what they're about, which is kind of cool. So tell
yeah,
me a little bit, as you were
absolutely.
talking, I'm sorry, carry on. Did you have something else to say?
No, no, I said absolutely.
So what I was going to say, so if somebody's watching this and we're talking about Bookouture, they don't really know what that is. If you could explain a little bit about what Bookouture is, and if they want to pitch Bookouture, if they think they might be a good fit, what Bookouture is looking for, and kind of how they would go about that. Because I know there's a lot of writers that do follow us, and I'm sure they would be interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Bookouture, we're a digital publisher, so I think people have to understand their expectations. Um, Although we do have paperback copies, they're via print on demand. We focus on ebooks, digital publishing, and do extremely well. We've got a great marketing team, great editors, really good publicity. No, great publicity.
No,
We have
you
great
are great. You
publicity.
guys are great.
And I think what you have to kind of make sure is your book commercial. So we generally don't publish literary fiction. Um, and we're coming out with a new sci-fi and fantasy. So that's something to watch out for. But what we like to see is, great psychological thrillers, a unique twist on something, historical fiction. Um, what else do we publish? Women's fiction, rom-coms, crime thrillers, series. If you have an original police procedural, U.S. based even, they're pretty hot at the minute. So I think you need to make sure that your book is for a commercial audience. Um, and I think with Bookouture, they're really great. I think they're one of the best to get back at after you submit. Within a matter of weeks, you'll know whether or not your book has been accepted, and an offer is going to be made, which I think is quite unique because speaking to a lot of people, they can wait months and months and months.
Right.
And I think I'd rather know if it's a no right
Right,
away
straight away.
rather than
And
kind
you
of
don't need an agent. I just wanted to
hoping.
put that forward as well in case you don't need an agent to approach Bookouture. So how do people do that? Do they go to the website? Is that how they actually submit?
Yeah, if you go to www.bookouture.com, and we're also on TikTok, Bookouture, so at Bookuture. It's so hard to spell sometimes. But if you look up Bookouture, you can follow us here on TikTok. And sometimes we have pitch Bookouture events on Twitter, or we're looking at other social media platforms. So yeah, keep your eye out for that and pitch your book to us.
And you guys did like a pitchathon or something not so long ago where you actually had people. Was that very successful for you guys? Yeah. You
Hugely
seem to have a
successful.
lot
We
of
couldn't
response.
believe. I think we had 300 people pitch to us, which was incredible.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah,
So
it was
KJ's
amazing.
asking questions.
And we published a lot of books. Okay.
Okay, which is cool. I love it. Does the book need to be complete to submit, or can it be in process?
No, we asked for a completed manuscript.
Yeah, that would make
I,
sense.
I mean, I say that, but sometimes like if you have a really, really good idea, and it's not complete, but it's near complete, you can always reach out to someone on social media and see if they'd be interested in seeing it.
Right. And who actually reads those? I mean, they go into Bookouture. Do you kind of divvy them out between the editors there, or how does that work?
Yeah, what they do is they kind of look at what the book is. So I think like with everything, like for in publicity, for instance, I'm like the big crime thriller fan. So when a new crime thriller comes in to publicize, a new author comes in, I generally am grabbing at that person, thinking, I want them on my list. And I think with editors, they they have a mixture, but obviously some are more interested in crime. But I think they do. I think they divide it up because they've got they've got historical, they've got women's fiction, but I think each of them have a certain specialty.
Cool. So KJ, have you got any question? KJ writes fantasy, science fiction and fantasy, and you say you're just about to be doing a lot of that. I'm asking if you've got any questions about some of your books. Her books are already out as self-published. Do you guys take
Hmm.
self-published books like that? Because she has a 3-book series. Yeah, and
We
so
do.
there you go. So, have you got any questions, KJ? Because I know that's your genre, and I knew it's a new genre in Bookouture, right? It's kind of you just got started with that. How's that going so far?
It's going great. Watch this space probably around October time. We're going to be launching the new imprint, and we have Jack Renison on board, and he is absolutely fantastic. He used to work, I believe, with Harper Voyage, so they're a big SFF imprint. So yeah, it's pretty exciting, and I think they're already looking, at acquisitions and stuff like that. So I
Fun.
can't wait till it launches. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got a name or near enough getting a name, so there'll be a big launch coming soon in the next couple of months.
How cool. Okay, Katie's got a question. When will the science fiction section be open for submissions? So maybe she's already been and looked and it wasn't open yet.
I think you can submit still through the general Bookouture submission portal. The books would just then go to Jack rather than
Okay.
another editor.
Yeah, you would know by reading it, and yeah, that kind of thing. And so yeah, no, that I mean, I was really fortunate to find Bookouture. I mean, I actually had an agent at the time that was looking, and I'd never even heard of them. I didn't even know, and I'm so glad that we found each other, because I absolutely love working for Booker. I love writing for them. I have an incredible agent, incredible editor. Isabel is so much fun to work with. I love her so much. She is great.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you all seem to like your job. You like working for Booker. Everybody seems to like their work there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When people say it's a dream job, um, I mean, this is a dream job. And don't get me wrong, there are days where I'm pulling my hair out or it's stressful. Um, but what I love about the team is you can have a conversation, you can share those concerns, and people are there for you. There's no like finger pointing, or it's not about blame game, or, you know, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. People will say to you, like, what do you need help on? Or, you know, can I help you with this? I didn't get that in probation. It was, here's 100 cases, figure it out yourself, you
Yeah,
know,
and if it goes wrong, it's
your
your
problem
fault.
now. Yeah, it was. Yes,
God.
sadly, that's what it was.
Yeah. I must admit, there are many parts of Booker that what you guys do that I love. But I think my number one thing that I absolutely love is the blog tours. I've done blog tours in
Yeah,
the past, and it's been like crickets. You know, you get sent out to somebody, and she and her 3 friends read it, and it's like you're like, oh. But with your blog tours, you feel the excitement from them. I love connecting with the readers. I mean, they're always really thorough. Like, some people will just kind of throw up the synopsis and say, I like this book at the end of it. And you're like, well, thanks for that. But they really get involved. And I'm asking you, how have you managed to really nurture the bloggers that you guys have got, the bloggers that you've gotten? But I know some of you are bloggers, so maybe you've brought people along. But I think the blog tour is my most favorite part of launch. In fact, Sarah asked me, do you want a 3-day, 5-day? I said, I want as long as I can get. I love the blog tour. So tell me a little bit
yeah.
about how that comes about.
Well, I think I, we have such an incredible group. We've got a group on Facebook. It's a secret group.
Oh.
That yes, you can't get into it by searching for it. You have to be invited.
Oh.
So, I think we've got probably about 400 people in there, but we also have a database which is connected to our account here on TikTok that if you are interested or want to take part in tours and stuff, you just sign up to our database. And I think we've got 1,000 people on that, maybe more.
Wow.
Um, but I mean, the bloggers, I think because Kim, myself, Sarah, and Jess are all bloggers. We come from a blogging background. So we understand the pressures of blogging and we try and work around that. And I think we're quite understanding. And, these people are our friends. They've been along on the journey with our authors, with us through, everything that we've done. So I think that's what makes it so great because they want to champion you guys. They want
Yeah.
to be the one that's shouting across, and they're amazing. They will share on every platform that they have. They'll put the review on Amazon, on Goodreads, on BookBub. They are just the most incredible bunch of people. And they're not just bloggers, they're Instagrammers. Some of them are just review on Goodreads and share their review via their Twitter account. As long as they read books, we'll have them on the tours. It's great to see the different ways that people write the reviews. We send out a media pack, so they've got all your stuff all together, easy to put onto their blog, and we have conversations with them if there's something they're unsure of or they don't know about. Sometimes we go into the group and do a live event and kind of chat through things with them, or we have email conversations or, Facebook messaging, whatever it is. I mean, I've had bloggers message me at midnight saying, oh, I forgot to get the book off NetGalley. Can you get it for me? And I'm running downstairs trying to get NetGalley up so I can approve them. It's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
It's crazy. But
Well,
this is how dedicated we are.
surprise. Now I know you have the secret Facebook group. That makes so much more sense because you feel the community within you can feel
Yeah.
that community of bloggers, which is so cool that you guys are really
Yeah.
not just like you're actually kind of growing that. You're growing that feeling of community. And I know that I talked to 2 bloggers, both that blog for their mental health. So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
normal for bloggers, some bloggers. And I remember the very first person who gave me a review on my very first book. It was such a beautiful, in-depth, thoughtful review that I reached out to her even like a year ago and just said, look, I just want to tell you, you gave me the very first review. I still remember you. I still remember it was so beautiful. And she came back and said, you don't know what that means to me because I struggle with
Yeah.
my mental health. And this is how I stay sane. Kind of just,
Yeah.
how I get through my day. And I was like, you have no idea, what people are living with. And I'm thinking that's really nice of them. And actually, it's a two-way thing. It finds that for the
Yeah.
bloggers, they're getting something out of that too. Do you find that
Yeah.
happens much in blogging?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. And I think that can work in two ways. Sometimes they are so desperate to help and shout out that they take on too much. So they kind of have to pull back on some because it's affecting their mental health. Um, and it's because they just love helping our authors. They want to be a part of it. But it can work both ways. And I know as a blogger myself, like I know reviews are for readers, they're not for authors, but I love it when an author has read my review and takes the time to message me to say, wow, thank you so much.
Mm,
That really means a lot to me because it shows me
yeah.
that they've read my review.
I always read the review. I always send it out via like I go into their blog post and send it from there, so that it
Yeah.
kind of takes people back to the blog post because I'm so grateful, and I normally tweet it out as well because I'm so grateful to the bloggers, even if it's a mediocre review, even if they didn't love the book, the fact they've taken time to sit and write that it means a lot. It's for a reader. I think I don't know why everybody writes, but I write because I want people to be affected by what I write. I want them to feel something, and the fact that you get that back instantly from a blogger is so important, and I love it. So my favorite part about the of launch is blog tours, which is weird, I
Yeah.
suppose.
No, the bloggers and the readers, they appreciate that you guys do that. I think we have the best group of authors out there. Not only are you supportive of each other, you're supportive of the reading community that's grown and is keep growing. And you don't get that a lot. Sometimes there are some authors who don't even read their reviews, and I get that. Sometimes you have to not read them, but I think it's important to engage when someone's written a review, even if you don't want to read it because you're scared, retweet it, thank the person.
Totally. KJ's got a question. What advice do you have for indie authors from your publicity experience at Bookature? So, because are you are any of your books indie authored, or are they all with a
Yeah,
publisher?
yeah, all with one more chapter.
Okay, so do you have any um advice for indie authors trying to do it alone for publicity?
I think, I mean, indie authors, I have so much respect for because the amount of work that you have to do on your own is
Right.
absolutely incredible. I mean, I know nothing about digital marketing, and that's probably a huge aspect. Like at Bookouture, publicity and marketing are two separate things. But when you're an indie author, you kind of have to combine them both. So I can only speak from a publicity point of view. I think it's really important to have updated bios on Amazon, Goodreads, BookBub. Sometimes I go on an Amazon bio and I see that, they haven't changed it since, 2012 when they wrote their first book.
Right.
You really need to keep up to date, I think, on those sorts of things. I think as an indie author as well, don't try and spread yourself too thin. Pick a platform that you're comfortable with and build that community. You don't have to be everywhere.
Right.
I kind of dabble a bit here, there, and everywhere, but that's because through work, I'm on every platform anyways.
Right.
So, but I know for me personally, I really enjoy Facebook. I enjoy Twitter, but it can be a little too fast for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really enjoying TikTok because it's allowing me to do silly things, and not really give a crap that I'm
I
doing
know.
silly things.
I
Um,
love
while,
TikTok. I
while
think it's my
building a
favorite. But carry
community.
on.
Yeah, and I love the book talk side of it. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff here on TikTok. I think you kind of have to find your niche, book talk, and stay within those parameters because
Beware of the
otherwise,
dark
oh
side of
my gosh.
TikTok. I know. I don't. I
Yeah,
must
yeah,
admit,
definitely. So,
and here's the thing: is if you, I find that as long as you start like quickly going over to the light side and putting enough videos down, then you switch away from wherever you were, which is kind of fun.
yeah.
So yeah, we're all. I can't believe we're almost
And
at one.
can I just give one more piece of
Of
advice?
course, yes, of
One more
course.
piece of advice. Um, I see a lot of people make this mistake, and I've said it before. Reviews are for readers. So if a reader gives you a bad review, don't engage. Do not engage. Back away from that review. It's
Yeah,
not for you. And if
yeah.
they tag you in it, I would ignore it. I don't know why readers would do that. I would never. Well, I don't write bad reviews because if I'm not enjoying a book, I put it down and I move on. So
That's
I'm
me
not going to
too.
review it.
Yeah.
But if you're tagged in a bad review, yeah, just ignore it. Like I've seen some nightmare things on like Goodreads and stuff. I personally try and avoid Goodreads because it's just not my happy place. But some people love it. I think it just depends.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
thing. Like if you don't have thick skin, do not read your
yeah,
reviews because they will break you.
yeah. They will definitely get through you. No, I tell people this all the time. I say I never read my 1 stars. I only ever read my 5 star reviews, and it's not an ego thing. It's because all I
No.
want to saturate myself with is what is working for my readers, so I do more of it. So when I
Yeah.
go to any kind of review, I never take anything personally for a start because there's never so strange as folk. Everyone's going to have a different opinion. And so I always go straight to my 5 stars. And what's great about that is like I go through them now and I'll go, people really like my character development. I see that over and over again. So when I go to write my
Mhm.
next book, I'm aware of that. I'm like, make sure you're really developing those characters because people love that about your writing. And so it's that kind of
Yeah.
thing that I think is that people who get caught up in the 1 star trying to make their 1 star readers happy, they kind of dilute themselves from what they're doing well. So I always tell people, don't read them. They're not, like you say, they're not there for you. And there's a lot of people
And
that give
reviews
1 stars reviews for whatever. They just put a. They don't even write a review. They just give you 1 star, and you're like, well, whatever, So it's kind of strange. So I don't read them.
and reviews are so subjective. Like what you like, I might not like, and what, so and so disliked about a book might be something I love about a book. So
Right.
I try not to take that personally. Like unless everybody's written the same 1 star
Well,
review,
that's different.
I
I mean, if I had the same
yeah,
one
that's
star
different.
review for everybody, then I've done something wrong, and I need to listen to that.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. But like all the books, I've got 1 stars.
yeah,
So what? Some people
everybody
just didn't
does.
like it.
Yeah,
They were not my target audience. That's
yeah.
it.
And I know that whenever I talk to my editor, she doesn't even really care about the reviews. I mean, she says, you guys care about reviews. We don't care about reviews. And I think that's important to know because as an author, you're like, oh my gosh, they may not pick me up again if they're reading all my 1 star reviews. And they're not. They're looking at
Yeah.
sales figures, right? That's what an editor's looking at is sales
Yep.
figures and long term and projection and all that kind of stuff and commercialism.
And I think you'd be surprised. A lot of negative reviews actually can help sell your book because, like I said, if someone wrote a 1 star review going, and in fact, I think it was a 2 star review, for one of my books, which are serial killer thrillers, and it says it on there. One of my books, it said, 2 stars. There's far too much murder in these books. Now, I I just went, yes,
That is
that is a
exactly
great
what the
review
point.
because you're selling my book for me. I
I
would
remember
look at a review like that and go, I want that book. So
exactly. And I remember I read a review that somebody wrote on To Kill a Mockingbird. Not one mockingbird was killed in this book. I
I
mean,
know,
you
I
can't
know.
get any better than To Kill a Mockingbird, but there you go. You say no mockingbirds were killed in this book. And why is it called this?
Yeah, yeah.
This is so
Reviews are
basically.
crazy. So yeah,
So I want to do a quick. So before we go, let's do a quick fire round just for fun, just to finish off. And also before
okay,
we leave, I want to once again pull up your book that's coming out and the date that it's coming out, so that we can make sure that as we go. Let's do that first. Pull up your book. And if you guys
okay,
missed the beginning of this interview, go to YouTube and watch when she tells you the synopsis for this because I'm telling you, I had full body chills. So 6 Ripley Avenue, and what's the date that it
yeah.
releases, Noelle?
Ebook and audio come out September 27th,
Oh,
and the
soon.
paperback is released. Yeah, The paperback's out October 13th.
Okay, so really close, like almost a month away, and then you'll be releasing, right? Wow. And is it up on NetGalley yet, or is it going to be on NetGalley?
Yeah,
It's up
it's
there
on
now.
NetGalley now.
KJ says she's all over that audio book. She's very excited. So yeah, she loves that kind of stuff. So I'm really sad she's not on here because she'd be having so much fun. So let's just finish up. Yeah, so please go get Noelle's book. If not, if you can't wait, go get the other book. She has so many of them. That was I had no idea you'd published so many. Because I feel like the first one was like just 2 years ago. Did you write really quickly?
It was.
That's what I thought. I was like, she just gave me like 6 books, and I thought the first one was only a few years ago. But did you write?
Yeah,
really
three years ago.
Yeah. So you wrote like 3 books a year or something?
Two books a year,
Wow.
except for this year. I've only written 1 book this year because I kind of mentally went, whoa, I'm tired now.
It's exhausting, isn't it? I actually been doing 2 books a year, but I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do that for much longer because I had complete burnout, and you're just writing nothing. You know, it's like this book's so bad. So anyway, let's finish up for some fun. We'll just finish up with a quick fire round, and I've really enjoyed this now. I could talk to you forever, but time is flying on, and we want to make sure we keep it short enough so people watch it. So, quick fire round: beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Is that because you get half a day like Kim?
No. Only in the summer I get half a day, but I just love Friday because
she gets half a day, which is why it's her favorite day. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh gosh, first celebrity crush. Probably John Taylor from Duran Duran.
Cute. Oh, you know what? They were from Birmingham, from where I'm from. Did you know that?
I know. Why do you think I moved over here?
In fact, the drummer went to my school. I can't remember his name. Taylor.
Oh,
somebody Taylor. He went to my school.
Roger Taylor.
Yeah, Roger Taylor. He was like a few years above me in school. Okay. Favorite junk food?
Chocolate. In fact, peanut M&Ms.
Yeah. Now, can you get those over in England? Peanut M&Ms?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say, I know that's very American. So, person who most inspired you or is inspiring you?
I don't think I have one person. I think every kind of author I've read has inspired me in one way or another.
Cool.
So that's my answer.
To read, do you prefer paperbacks, Kindles, or audiobooks?
Kindle.
Okay, wow. I don't. Favorite social media and why? I think you've already mentioned this.
Yeah, I'm loving TikTok at the minute.
Me too.
Because I just find it so fun and creative and interactive, and I'm enjoying
with people on TikTok. Like, people automatically, and people seem so supportive. You know, you very rarely get, people normally like things and they give you I love it. I love that part of it. What superpower do you wish you had?
Reading people's minds.
Ooh, that's kind of scary. I'm glad you don't have it. Okay.
It would have helped me a lot in probation as well.
Yes, it would have, wouldn't it? She's about to do something wrong. I can tell. She's already planning it. Okay.
Yeah.
Which part of writing is the hardest?
Probably editing my first draft.
Which is because of the way you write, we were talking about. Which part of the writing is the easiest?
Probably writing the first draft.
See, it's the opposite for me. That's funny. Do you believe in love at first sight?
Yes, I think I do.
Yeah, me too. I never happened to me, but I do believe in it. There we go. Cool. Well, this was really fun, Noelle. And I was wondering, it was so fun to have you. Maybe we could have you back if you want to come back. Maybe after you're published or at another point. If anything you want to promote, let us know. We would love to. I know, KJ, and I love having writers back because the journey is ongoing, and so we learn new things from people all the time. So, is there anything you want to leave us with? Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to answer or talk about? Because I know that we've kind of.
You are a fabulous, fabulous host. I'm sorry that KJ wasn't.
I know, I am too.
Here.
She would love this. But we're going to figure that out. Me and KJ will work on this, and maybe we'll work on it and then get you back so she can ask questions too. So, but
you were great.
You were so much fun. I really, really enjoyed this. So great getting to know you better too. So good luck with the
Yeah.
launch. If I don't see you before then, I'm excited. I think it's going to be brilliant. I already feel it's going to be a good book. And let's hope it goes all the way to being a movie or something, because I can totally see that. Cool. And thanks so much for your time tonight. Really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. I loved it.
And yeah, I was gonna say this will be up on our YouTube video. Anyone who's watching, if you missed it and you've just come in, don't worry. Thank you, Noelle. Sorry I couldn't join. I tried. KJ wrote. It will be up on our YouTube. The
Oh,
whole video will be up. So if you guys want to go see it over there, it'll also be over on Twitter. We put it out on Pinterest, Twitter, all the social media platforms it goes out on. So you guys can catch it anywhere there. And big thanks to Noelle. And
thank
hopefully we'll
you.
get to see that book soon. Yay! Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, take care. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.